In 5th century Arabia, survival meant navigating a brutal, sun-scorched desert. Nomadic tribes fought constant, bitter wars over scarce resources, just to stay alive. Among these tribes were the descendants of a man named Fir ibn Malik. At the time, they were a scattered, impoverished group of nomads, living at the margins of their Kanana relatives. But just miles from where these nomads struggled sat the Kaaba in Mecca. It was a revered pagan sanctuary, already drawing visitors, yet completely unexploited economically, and it was controlled by a rival tribe. In an environment where water and grazing land dictated life and death, whoever successfully weaponized the peace of this religious shrine would command the entire region. Enter Qusay ibn Kilab, a 6th-generation descendant of Fir. He recognized the value of the Kaaba, rallied his scattered kinsmen, and forcibly seized control of the city. Qusay organized his domain around specific functions. One son managed pilgrim water, another handled food, and another carried the war banner. This division of labor turned chaotic nomads into a structured institution, the Quraysh. By establishing civic and religious departments, Qusay incorporated a proto-corporation into the heart of Arabia, setting the stage for an economic empire. In their early decades, the Quraysh operated as local religious administrators, providing services to visitors of the Kaaba. To stabilize the region, they established a strict 30-kilometer zone around Mecca, where all combat was forbidden. Within this perimeter, tribal blood feuds were suspended. Next, they gathered 360 different pagan idols inside the Kaaba. By housing the deities of diverse, warring tribes, the city became a safe destination for groups that would otherwise never meet in peace. The Quraysh monetized this traffic. They levied taxes on visitors and monopolized food and water required during the pilgrimage months. Guaranteeing safety created a captive consumer base, generating the initial capital required for their expansion into large-scale trade. By the late 6th century, the Quraysh used this accumulated capital to finance massive desert caravans. Moving goods at this scale, as seen in this archival imagery, required staggering logistical coordination. Their network covered the length of the peninsula. They ran southern caravans to Yemen during the winter and northern fleets to Gaza and Damascus during the summer. The Fijar War cemented their position. After 4 years of fighting, the Quraysh and their allies defeated their eastern rivals, securing absolute control over western Arabian trade routes. This expansion shifted Mecca's role. The city became the primary commercial link between the Indian Ocean and the Mediterranean. As trade grew, elite clans like the Banu Umayya and the Banu Makhzum evolved their methods. They moved past simple retail, developing complex ways to manage wealth. Instead of one merchant risking his entire fortune on a single trip, they pooled their capital. Multiple investors backed several different expeditions simultaneously, which diluted the impact of a single raid or loss. They used these pooled resources to negotiate alliances with the Bedouin tribes along their routes. In exchange for a share of the profits, these tribes provided safe passage through otherwise hostile territory. Orchestrating these operations required sophisticated management and organizational skills, producing a new class of professional administrators. Through capital pooling and negotiated risk, the Quraysh had built a financial system designed to survive the volatility of the desert. By the early 7th century, this monopoly led to an extreme concentration of wealth and rigid power dynamics in Mecca. This system faced a challenge from within the Quraysh's own Banu Hashim clan, where a man named Muhammad began preaching the message of Islam. The Quraysh's initial opposition to Muhammad was deeply rooted in the protection of their revenue. They saw his message as a direct threat to the city's economic order. Monotheism challenged the very basis of their pilgrimage trade. If the 360 idols were removed, the city would lose the diverse polytheistic crowds that fueled its wealth. In 630 CE, Muhammad entered Mecca and dismantled the polytheistic order centered at the Kaaba. While the old religious order ended, the new Islamic State absorbed the Quraysh elites. Their organizational expertise was recognized as a necessary asset for governance. The skills they developed managing venture capital and desert caravans were repurposed to administer a rapidly growing empire. The financial and administrative structures built by the Quraysh survived the shift to Islam, providing the bureaucratic blueprint for the early caliphates.